My daughter Lily started talking to the wall when we moved into our new house. It was an old house, the kind with creaks and groans that you learn to live with, like an elderly relative. At first, I thought it was just a kid's imagination running wild. She'd sit in the corner of her room, her back to me, whispering to the faded floral wallpaper. "He's shy," she'd tell me, when I asked who she was talking to. "His name is Jack, and he lives in the wall." I played along. "Well, tell Jack it's nice to meet him." Lily would giggle, a sweet, tinkling sound that filled the old house with life. But then the whispers started to change. They grew more urgent, more secretive. Sometimes I'd press my ear to her door and hear her little voice. "No, Jack, I can't do that. Mommy wouldn't like it." My heart would clench. What was this imaginary friend telling my daughter? One evening, as I was tucking her in, she pointed to the wall. "Jack's sad tonight," she said, her lower lip trembling. "He says his family left him here a long, long time ago. They put him in the wall and forgot him." A chill, colder than any draft in the old house, slithered down my spine. This was getting too specific, too dark for a child's game. I decided to do some research. The local library archives were dusty and smelled of decaying paper. It didn't take long to find what I was looking for. Our house had a history. A family named the Andersons lived here in the 1950s. They had a young son named Jack. My blood ran cold. The records said the family moved away suddenly, but there was a footnote, a small, handwritten entry from the town sheriff. "Search for missing boy Jack Anderson called off. Assumed runaway. He was never found." That night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house sounded like a footstep. I kept thinking about Lily, sleeping peacefully in her room with Jack in the wall. Was it just a story she'd picked up somehow, or was something else going on? Around 3 a.m., a muffled thud from her room jolted me awake. I rushed in to find her standing by the wall, her eyes wide. "He's trying to come out, Mommy," she whispered, pointing at a new crack that had appeared in the plaster. "He wants to play." I packed our bags the next morning. I told Lily we were going on a little vacation, a lie that tasted like ash in my mouth. We were not coming back. As we drove away, I looked at the house in the rearview mirror. It looked quiet, unassuming, but I knew better. I knew what it held. We stayed with my sister for a few weeks. Lily seemed to forget about Jack. She played with her cousins, she laughed, she was my little girl again. I started to breathe easier. Maybe we had escaped. Maybe it was over. Then one night I was woken by a faint sound from the living room. It was Lily. She was standing in the corner, her back to me, whispering. I crept closer, my heart pounding in my chest. "Yes, I know," she was saying, her voice so soft it was almost lost in the silence of the house. "I miss him too." I was about to rush to her, to scoop her up and tell her everything was okay, when she turned her head slightly. Her eyes met mine in the dim light, and a slow, cold smile spread across her face. It wasn't Lily's smile. "Don't worry," she said, her voice dropping to a low, unfamiliar rasp. "We'll go back for him soon." That's when I finally understood. Jack wasn't just an imaginary friend. He wasn't a ghost trapped in the wall. Jack was a name, a promise. My daughter hadn't been talking to the wall had been talking to her. And whatever was in that house, whatever called itself Jack, wasn't trying to get out. It was trying to get in. And it had found the perfect way. The next few months were a blur of specialists and therapists. They diagnosed Lily with everything from adjustment disorder to childhood psychosis. They gave her pills that made her drowsy and quiet. They told me it was stress from the move, that her imaginary friend was a coping mechanism. I nodded and smiled and pretended to believe them. But I knew the truth. I could see it in her eyes, in those fleeting moments when the little girl I knew was gone, replaced by something ancient and patient. I started renovating my sister's house. At first, it was just small things, a new coat of paint, fixing a loose floorboard. But then it became an obsession. I tore down walls, I ripped up floors, I rewired the entire electrical system. My sister thought I was having a breakdown, channeling my anxiety into manual labor. I let her think that. I needed her to. One night, while everyone was asleep, I finished my work. In the corner of the living room, where Lily had been whispering, I'd built a new wall. It was thick, reinforced with steel and filled with concrete. It was solid, it was silent. As I put the finishing touches on the plaster, I heard a faint sound from Lily's room. A soft, frustrated cry. The next morning, Lily came downstairs. She looked at me, truly looked at me, for the first time in months. The fog was gone from her eyes. "Mommy," she said, her voice small and clear. "I had a bad dream." I knelt and hugged her, burying my face in her hair, tears of relief streaming down my cheeks. She was back. My Lily was back. We never spoke of Jack again. Life slowly returned to normal. Lily grew up, she went to college, she fell in love. I sold the old house, disclosing nothing of its history. I sold my sister's house too, and we moved far away, sometimes late at night. I wonder about the new family living there. I wonder if they ever hear a faint scratching sound from the living room wall. I wonder if they notice their child whispering to a corner when they think no one is watching. Because I know what I did. I didn't get rid of it, I just gave it a new home. I trapped it. And every parent knows there's nothing more dangerous than a child who's been put in a corner. I just pray that wall holds. Thanks so much for watching. I know that was a long one, but I hope you enjoyed the ride. If you did, please hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more stories like this. See you in the next one.